One of the reasons that Lostwithiel floods is because it can be affected by a range of conditions. It can be affected by the tide that comes in from the River Foy, from the main River Foy itself, which is a large river, and also from the tributaries that can cause a great deal of rapid flooding within the town, and from surface water as well.
The first thing was I wasn't here. I was actually working away in Cumbria, and I watched it unfold on Sky News.
I was just amazed at the water come in so fast from the back of the cottage. The most alarming part was that it came in probably 4 or 5 foot deep.
It absolutely went through the whole of the ground floor, so everything in the ground floor of the house had to be stripped out.
These 2 manhole covers have both been raised with raw sewerage in the yard here. I'm a bit more worried about that than the actual flooding, because the flooding you can see, but a bit concerned about the bugs that you can't.
Flooding can have a very severe impact upon people, households and communities. One of the things we've seen within Cornwall over the last few years is not just the severe shock that it can cause at the time of flooding, but also going through that recovery process. Recovery can take anything from 3 months through to 2 years, and through that time it can have a lasting impact upon the fear of further flooding, anxiety and even depression.
Cornwall Council is the lead local flood authority, and it's our job to help with the effects of surface water flooding and to recover from it. As the emergency services retired from the job here at Lostwithiel, we were left standing, working with local people, setting up surgeries, helping them to be safe in their homes and start to clear their homes out, to overcome the health effects and to remind them about the effects of dirty water and things like that.
The Cornwall Community Flood Forum was established following widespread flooding in mid-Cornwall back in November 2010.
The people in the tests.
The forum itself was really established to bring communities together, to work together, share their experiences along with the flood risk authorities, which include Cornwall Council, the Environment Agency and South West Water.
Because we've understood and we've relayed it in the right way.
Our main focus is upon the volunteers, those people who are supporting their community, and we've used our funding to provide high visibility waterproof clothing, and we've also put together a training package which consists of a series of modules which actually talk through some of the health and safety issues associated with flooding and responding to flooding. We've also put together guidance to help those at risk of flooding directly in households and business.
We've got volunteer flood wardens, and we go out reassuring. We're out before a flood incident occurs, and we try and just give them reassurance that we're there, that there could be a possibility, and then we work up until when the emergency services come in, and then we step back and we're there as an advisor in who's vulnerable, so that the emergency services get to the right people at the right time. So one of the things that's helped us to develop the flood plan to help the community is the toolkit that was produced by Cornwall Flood Forum. It makes you think about things in a way that you don't usually. So it makes you question everything, put the plan in place, and it makes you check, and we test all the time, and every time you're learning something. So the toolkit is vital when somebody is beginning to put their flood plan together to use that toolkit. It's helped us define the roles of the flood wardens, which before we just thought that they go here, they go there. No, it's helped us to create zones in our areas so that we get specialised wardens who know each zone.
Bill, right. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Just not to alarm you, but you are...
The Cornwall Community Flood Forum has evolved very, very rapidly over the last 2 or 3 years. We applied for some funding. We've got funding from the Big Lottery and also from DEFRA through their Flood Resilience Community Pathfinder. The membership of the forum has grown rapidly as well. We've now got something like 47 town and parish councils who are members, and we're providing direct support to those.
Part of the Cornwall Flood Forum was the training package, and it made us think, when we did the training, made us think about things we've got to take into consideration. It was vital for our wardens to understand. So when they go out, that training is always in the back of their minds, and it's vital. It teaches them where they shouldn't put themselves at risk. It taught us how the emergency services work. So the training was vital to help us to develop the roles.
Households and communities can prepare for flooding by firstly setting up a household or community flood plan, which will actually set out what to actually do in the event of an emergency. And secondly, to actually sign up for the Environment Agency's Flood Warnings Direct Service, and that will provide guidance directly for their local area on the risk of flooding.
Although we can't pinpoint to specific events, in the Environment Agency we know that climate change is going to have a huge impact on the communities, both inland communities that are affected by river flooding, but also communities around the coast as well, when we will see the impacts of sea level rise. So we know we've got huge challenges that face us in the years to come with the impacts climate change is going to have, particularly in regard to flooding.
Certainly from the experience that we've had in Cornwall, there's a real benefit in communities becoming better prepared, supporting each other, having volunteers on the ground, and having an umbrella group like the Cornwall Community Flood Forum that can apply for funding and provide support is a real benefit, and certainly a model that can be extended to other parts of the country.
The feeling that we get from the community in Lostwithiel is having a community flood plan has really helped them in responding to a flood. They feel as though they are part of the response to the flood now. The community understands the flood risks that they face better, and also the community are reassured by the fact that they've got members of their own community who are taking an active part in responding to flooding and preparing for it.
Lostwithiel today is a confident community, one with a flood plan. I'd encourage other communities to talk to the local authority, to work with them, to produce a flood plan, to get themselves more prepared for any potential future events.
I think that now the flood plan is in place, the community really appreciates that, and they've come together, and it makes people feel less anxious.
I feel a lot happier that now we've got these wardens. They're up and running. Great team. Fabulous.